called Horatio, the hoarse. Hoarse is when you lose your voice and you sound like this. Hi, I can't talk. I lost my voice. Once upon a time, a long time ago, in a village, a small village in Mexico called Puerto Escondido. There was a village of horses, and in that village lived many horses, and of all kinds. Big horses, small horses, beautiful horses, fast horses, slow horses.
Sophie, quiet.
But above all in this village of horses, what was prized above agility or speed or beauty or any other quality that we normally think of horses these days were beautiful horse singing voices.
Yeah.
And the horses valued mariachi music most of all. Mariachi music is the music of Mexico. And so some of them would play their little guitars and sing their love songs. And in this village, this is what everyone lived for. They lived for the music of these lovely horses. Well, there were two horses that were most famous in this village for their ability to make beautiful music. Their names were Sally and Sam. And Sally and Sam were married, and they were known as the horse couple that can make the most beautiful music in all the land, in all of Mexico. And Sally and Sam were expecting a great surprise. They were expecting their first horse baby. With delight, they waited and they planned, and everyone in the whole village around Puerto Escondido thought, Sam and Sally, they will have the child that will have the most beautiful voice in all of Mexico. That child will be able to have the best mariachi band ever. And we cannot wait to meet this child, this long-awaited horsito. Well, the day finally came that Sally gave birth to their baby. And they looked, and the baby was born, and he was the most beautiful horse that anyone in the land had ever seen. And when normally baby horses gallop after a week, Horse started galloping after a day. And he was fast, and he could run like the wind, and he was beautiful, and everyone was amazed. And then after a week, the time came when horses usually showed their voice. And Horse said, hi. And Sally and Sam looked at him. What's wrong with our child? He doesn't have a beautiful voice. And they thought, oh, maybe it's just a mistake. They said, oh, baby horse, can you tell us your name? And he said, my name is Horse. And they said, oh, dear me, our baby horse is hoarse. What shame has fell upon our family? Can we ever get away from the shame, the dread of our most beloved child that we thought was going to be the most beloved musician in all of Mexico, that would have the most famous mariachi band someday, is nothing but a horse, and their shame befell upon them. But they loved Horse. And so, like any good loving parents, they played games with him, and they had fun, and they had laughter, and they did observe that he was the fastest horse in all the land. And he was the most beautiful, and he had the most agility. When other horses could jump over simple fences, oh no, Horse, he could jump over houses. He could jump over cities. He had the skills of a million horses, but because his voice was hoarse, no one valued him. No one liked him. He had no friends. So Horse was hoarse, and he was also very sad. But he went on with his life. He knew his parents loved him, and he was cared for. But he also knew he would never be famous. He knew he'd probably never get married. And he knew that he would never be the most famous musician in a mariachi band. So time went on, and all the people of Puerto Escondido were teeming with excitement because the most famous mariachi band at that time of horses was coming to town to visit, the Banditos. The Banditos were to play at some weddings and to participate in some festivals, and it was something that everyone looked forward to very much. So the first night they came, everyone in the town went out to hear the mariachi band, the Banditos. And the women, they swooned and hoped that maybe one of the horse Banditos would propose to them. And the men, with envy, looked upon them. Oh, I wish I could perform like those Banditos. I wish my voice was as beautiful and I could play the guitar as well, but they could not. And they looked forward to a whole week of enjoying the Banditos' music. So night after night they went. And the fifth night, they all went and they enjoyed the music. And after the music was over and everyone went home, little horse, or big horse, because he was big, he went on a walk in the woods because he was just so sad. And he was out in the woods all by himself trying to make his horse voice not so hoarse. He was trying to sing the mariachi songs, mi amor, but it just came out, mi amor. He tried it again, mi amor, but he could not do it. And he started crying, but his crying wasn't very loud. It sounded like this. No one could hear. He was out there alone, so he thought. And then he heard what sounded like some of the members from the Banditos band, the mariachi band, talking out in the woods. And they had a little fire pit. And they were roasting marshmallows and chatting. And they didn't know he was there, but he heard them talking. And they said to each other, scheming, okay, the people in the town love us. Tomorrow night, after everyone is sleeping, we are going to rob all of the houses. We are going to put a spell on all the people when we sing. And they're going to fall asleep. And we are going to rob all of the houses. All of the jewels. All of the diamonds. All of the money. And we are going to take advantage of these Puerto Escondido people. And we're going to take the whole town. And Horace didn't know what to do. He thought he would run back to town and yell for help. But then he realized, I can't yell for help because I'm a horse. And so he mustered all his strength, which you know is more strength than any other horses. And he mustered his agility. And he found a rope. And he went and he galloped and galloped and galloped. And he lassoed his rope, lassoed his rope, lassoed his rope. And swung it around the Banditos and tied them all up. And caught them. And he said, you are my prisoners. But it came out like this. You are my prisoners. And they were trapped. He ran back to town. And he banged on the door of his parents. And his parents came out and said, Horse, what are you doing up so late? And he said, come. I found the Banditos were planning to sabotage our city. And they came. They called upon the police. And they came. And they got the Banditos and threw them in prison. They threw them in the city jail before they learned more. Then just the next day, the sheriff from the next town came over on his horse. He was a horse on his other horse as fast as he could and said, alert, here's a poster. The band, the Banditos, don't let them in your town. They are robbers and they will rob your whole town. And after that day, the whole town said, Horse, you are our hero, Horse. You saved our whole town. You saved all of our jewels and our wedding rings and all of our money. You are our hero. And from that day forward, horses were no longer valued for their singing voices. Horses were valued for their strength and agility and beauty. And to this day, when we look at books with pictures of horses, or when we think about horses, we look at how beautiful they are, how fast they are, and how high they can jump. Thanks to Horatio, the horse.